It's election day in Texas. It's November 5th, 2024, and these are your headlines. That's right, the day a lot of us have been waiting years for is finally here. It's election day, not just in Texas, but across the country. There's no doubt lots of eyes going to be paying attention to the big race, the presidential race tonight. In fact, that's why we're coming to you a little bit early, because we wanted to talk a little bit about what we're going to be looking at TexasScorecard.com. And then I've got a couple stories related to the elections as they're happening right now. But of course, tonight we're going to be paying attention not only to how President Trump and Kamala Harris do in Texas. Would certainly expect President Trump to win Texas comfortably, but the question will be, does he build on the 6-point margin he had in 2020? We're going to be looking at that in Texas. And of course, we have the Senate race between Senator Ted Cruz and Colin Allred. We'll talk a little bit about more about that in just a second. But then those big races as well will have an effect on what happens down ballot. Will Republicans in the Texas legislature gain seats? In fact, there's at least one competitive seat in the Texas Senate as well as the Texas House. You could see Republicans gain majorities there. Interestingly, both of those potential pickup seats are in South Texas. So we're going to be talking a lot about that and looking at that as the election results come in tonight. Tomorrow, I want to let you know you can mark your calendars at noon on Wednesday. Me and Michael Quinn Sullivan are going to be sitting right back here as we're getting ready for it right now. We're going to go over some of the analysis, some of what happened in Texas tomorrow at noon. Hopefully we'll have those results in by then, but you can follow all of our coverage as well tonight at TexasScorecard.com. Big news for people who are going to be voting today following the announcement of a lawsuit last night by Attorney General Ken Paxton. The Biden-Harris Department of Justice will not be sending federal election monitors inside polling places in Texas. Now, the DOJ recently revealed plans to send those monitors to ensure compliance with federal voting rights laws across 27 states, including in 8 Texas counties. Those were Atascosa, Bexar, Dallas, Frio, Harris, Hayes, Palo Pinto, and Waller counties. The Texas Secretary of State Jane Nelson said they wouldn't be allowed in there, said Texas law defines who is allowed to be in a polling site and vote count center. Governor Greg Abbott agreed. He said federal monitors are not allowed to enter polling places in Texas. Well, after Attorney General Ken Paxton filed a lawsuit yesterday against the DOJ to prevent their entry, the OAG has announced, they've reached a settlement, an agreement that will keep the DOJ out. That agreement states that federal monitors will not be allowed inside polling and central count locations. They will, however, be allowed outside 100 feet away, just like any other candidate or citizen can do at a polling place, and voters are not required to answer any questions that may be asked of them. No federal agent will be permitted to interfere with Texas's free and fair elections, Ken Paxton said. A DOJ spokesman told Texas Scorecard that the department was always planning on being outside the polls before the agreement was made.
What are the important things out there in Texas politics and Texas news that matter to you, and what can you do about it? That's what we want to bring you with the Luke Macias Show on a weekly basis for 20 to 30 minutes. That way you can get the information and go do something for the rest of your week. I look forward to coming to you every Wednesday.
We talked about the big Senate race between Ted Cruz and Colin Allred. Well, biological men participating in women's sports continues to be a featured issue in the campaign. Certainly, many of the campaign ads that we've seen on television, as well as the mailers, et cetera, have been focused on this issue. Specifically, Representative Colin Allred's record in support of boys and girls sports. That's been a key message of Cruz's campaign ads. In the debate last month, Allred was pressed to clarify his stance on the issue. He said he doesn't support what Ted Cruz is talking about boys and girls sports, but then he said, but I think folks should not be discriminated against. And of course, he has a record of voting against protections for women's sports. In October, Colin Allred also appeared in an ad stating that he doesn't want boys playing in girls' sports, but an unearthed letter from 2022 shows him affirming his support for the, quote, transgender community's participation in sports. In this letter, Colin Allred cited his support in the co-sponsorship of the Equality Act, which would allow a person to play a sport or enter a locker room based on their gender identity. Allred's record in Congress also includes a vote against the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act, which aimed to stop school athletic programs from allowing men to participate in female sports. Again, we're going to continue covering everything election here in Texas at TexasScorecard.com.